Welcome to the 58-Minute Breakfast, where we discuss our town's tourism with local business owners and leaders in our community. Join in on today's discussion all about retail and involving Highway 62 and beyond.
So let's talk a little bit about retail in Eureka Springs. And the two things that come to mind are, number one, people love retail here. They love the shops, they love the stuff that's unique, they love the stuff that's quirky, and I think we see so many people that come to Eureka Springs just because they love that unique experience. They love walking up and down the street. There's just a lot of things that make people excited about retail. But there's a dark side of retail. Dark side of retail in Eureka Springs is the things that we hear from people that come here and say, wow, it's 5:30 Saturday night. I'm walking up and down Spring Street. I look in the windows, but nobody's home. If you were renting a retail store from, for instance, the Rouse Corporation, and you were in a shopping mall, you'd have guaranteed parking for your customers, you'd have air conditioning, you'd have ambiance, you'd have probably people, a mall where people could go in and eat, but what you would have is requirements. Those requirements say you open at 10 in the morning and close at 8 o'clock at night, or whatever those hours are. That way, everybody gets an equal opportunity. In Eureka Springs, we don't have that type of rigidity, but what we do have is we have a little bit of a disconnect with our retailers that seems to be problematic. And it's something that, as a CAPC, we can't fix that. It's hard to be, let's put it this way, it's hard to be all things to all people. So how do we address retail? What's the best way to go ahead and maybe get the message to the owners, the people at work?
They know that they got the message, I think. A lot of them have. They don't know what to do to.
I think they have, and some of them have stayed open.
Some have, yes. I don't mean
And particularly, but I think it's not just isolated to retailers. It's the restaurants, it's everything else in activities. I mean, the simple bottom line is you have to guarantee they're going to get business to stay open. Some of them don't have employees. They're, operator owned. They've been a while, they're tired, they don't want to stay around until 8:30. But those who have stayed open, like when CAPC in the past has alerted them and said, we got a concert, restaurants, please stay open a little later, which, the restaurants were good at some accommodating, and some of the retailers did. And we heard feedback that they made their week that night. There's value in it if you do stay open, but it's that fine balance of, are you going to guarantee your revenue, which of course you can't.
And I've heard the same things everybody else has about the retail spaces and people staying open versus not staying open. It's that chicken or the egg thing. Do you stay open and then hope that you get enough people to cover your costs, or do you, wait for the people to come and then you stay open for them? You mentioned Eureka time, and I think that's kind of part of it too. I mean, Eureka does have this kind of reputation for, walking up to a store and there's a sign on the door that says, out fishing or off being a mom or something like that. I mean, we've seen that before, and there is kind of it's part of the charm, but it also part of the challenge.
something I try to sell to a customer. When they complain, a tourist at the restaurant, oh, all the shops downtown are closed. I said, well, it's Eureka. We're laid back here. It's like the dark side of what they like about Eureka.
Yeah.
And so I always try to tell them, go back tomorrow or try at 2 a.m. Haha. Just try to make some sort of joke about it because people do comment on it.
I'd like to see the city be more cohesive. Someone stopped me in the street and said, what time's the shops open? I'd love to say 10 to or noon to 8 or something like that.
What's corporate versus what's not, and versus what's professionalism too. Because that's the thing, like, where do you draw the line between corporate and professional? Because we all want to be professional, and you want to see Eureka move forward in a more professional way. And I feel like we've gotten better at that. But again, there is that kind of line that I feel like you hear some people say, that, well, we're not a chain, and we're not a corporate, so we do this, and we don't do things like the rest of the world, or we don't do things even like the rest of Arkansas. I mean, it's just,
Exactly.
we kind of do our own thing. So I mean, how do you harness the charm aspect of that?
We have a charm here, but I think tourism's evolved over time. Years ago, it used to be 2-week family vacations, the lake at Eureka Springs, and then it became the wedding destination. Then it became something else, and now it's becoming something else. So I think business here and the town itself needs to evolve with what the trends are.
You know, Eureka gets so many repeat tourists, so many frequent flyers. And when you have a business, especially and you for so long, you see the people, and you know them year after year after year. And the thing I hear over and over is, I learned a long time ago to come up to Newtown, to park, to go out to eat, to
Right.
stay. They know, like you said, they know that they know that they're going to go downtown and shop. They're going to go downtown and see the places, but they do not want to park down there. They don't want to eat down there. Mentally, they want to be where they can park.
And I think that's a
You know.
positive that they've discovered that alternative. And that kind of begs the question, is it smart to separate it, downtown, Newtown, uptown, whatever? To me, I think that's wrong. I think one of the things that we've created was we branded Eureka Springs in a very small little footprint downtown because of the history, because of the retail, because of the concentration. We've changed, but we haven't changed our global. But like you say, our visitors have. They might be staying out at the lake because they've discovered that's where they need to stay. They'll shop like 3 o'clock in the afternoon when, you know, the kids have to get a snack, and so the kids are out of the store. And they'll go either early or late to dinner. I'm sure you see that pattern. And, you know, or they'll eat out, you know, out there. And as they discover more of the retail that's going out there, I think there's a good opportunity to expand that brand of Eureka Springs and not just make it downtown. Like, that's always been my concern. We keep trying to shove a size 10 foot in a size 4 shoe.
Make sure uptown people know that they are included. I hear that all the time. People say, "Oh, Eureka, that's all downtown." I said, "Not really." And besides, that's us too, anyway. But
And I love that.
the us against them thing drives me crazy.
No, I think transit needs to be pushed much harder. I mean, when we did Zombie Crawl, you know, and we worked something out with them, I think he said they moved 5,000 people in a day,
Incredible.
which he'd never done before. And there's no reason why you couldn't tap into that for all the other events in town.
I love the idea that we think the transit is probably underrated in terms of its PR components. If I went to San Francisco this week, I want to get on a trolley.
Correct.
I just do. That's where I want to be. And I have told people it's similar to San Francisco in a lot of respects because you can get on a trolley here and you can just go all over on that single ticket and have a good time looking at all the stuff. And I find it just, you know, very unique, and you gotta love the trolley guys that actually can navigate Spring Street and go around and get through those things so people can have really a great tour of the city. You know, I think that one of the things that at the CAPC we would really like to do is to make transit, you know, really top of mind awareness for people as they come to town. But that gives them the opportunity also to have a parking spot. Parking is always going to plague us.
You talked about first impressions and last impressions. And I know that from a museum perspective, from our perspective, being right there at the entrance to town, we take that role very seriously because, you know, we tell people, make your first stop the museum. Because for one thing, a lot of Eureka doesn't make sense. You know, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But if you learn some of the history, some of the things fall into place. And you go, But I know that, you know, we've noticed it's very obvious that, like, for example, if I have an employee that can spend more time talking to someone, because, you know, we don't have a tour per se through the museum. It's a self-guided tour, but we do like to start people off. And so we'll start them off and we'll talk to them for a little bit of time and just kind of get them, you know, kicked off. And it is 100% that the more time we spend talking to them and giving them that personable first impression, the more time they spend in the museum. I mean, like I said, it's got to be 100%, regardless of where somebody stops. If they can have that experience with somebody, then it sets them on the right path. It puts them in the right mindset, and I think it gives them a better experience.
But then I thought, you kept saying inspire. I think CAPC's job is not just to fund things, all of us to coordinate with our efforts and all that. It's to inspire people to do things, to stay open later, to find a way to work together, to get Newtown with downtown, to get events figured out. I like the mindset of that.
We have changed tremendously, and COVID helped us quite a bit with that. Got younger people coming in, they're, coming in at their mountain bikers. There's a whole different thing beyond 62 that we talk about going toward the east. There's a whole set of opportunities going out to the west, including Opera in the Ozarks and their huge expansion, ESSA and their huge expansion. That's going to create a whole other thing. And if we're not careful, Eureka West is going to capitalize on that and Eureka Springs will not. So my takeaway is thank you for broadening the view and considering the incredible potential we have within all of the city limits. Yeah.
Well, guys, we pushed a lot of buttons today, and we did it in less than 58 minutes. And, I think, again, the remarkable thing is when you pull intelligent people together with an attitude of, I love this word inspiration. I think everybody gets a little inspired when they do this because they see opportunity as opposed to things that basically are not. And we have so many opportunities in Eureka Springs to grow and to progress. And it's because of all you guys that it's working. So thank you for being a part of this program today.